And really, I have the honor, the privilege of introducing one of the greatest guys I've met, honestly, Charlie Stroble, who is our Director of Product Experience. So if I could, everyone get a warm welcome. Charlie Stroble, come up on stage, brother.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing? Oh, thank you, Vicky. Okay, so last night we decided Vicky was going to do the presentation, but we were going to do it in like a rap, so like to rapper's delight, the whole thing. She was pretty confident, and she's walking away. Yeah, that's not funny. So my name's Charlie Stroble. I'm the Director of Product Experience here at Ad Astra, and it's my pleasure to get to introduce you to the work that we've been hard at work on over the last year. And before we get going, I think it's really important for us to think about the why, right? Why do we all come to Aspire? Why are we building products? Why are engineers working hard doing it? Why are our designers designing, our product owners product owning, supporting, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on. It's because we all aspire to reach this mission, right? To graduate more students faster. I think it's okay to assume that we're a mission-driven company. You all heard Tom this morning. He's a pretty passionate guy about what we're doing. That's a really easy thing for all of us to fall in line to do, right? So as we're building our products, as we're making decisions about what to invest in, what we want to move forward with, this is our North Star, right? Graduating more students faster for us is what it's all about. And I'm excited to share what we've been working on that is directly in line with that mission. So let's start with two products that you're pretty familiar with, Platinum Analytics and Astra Schedule. Now you might notice something a little bit different on screen, something that's new. For those of you who stopped by the Solutions Center, you've gotten to see a little sneak preview of this, but this is our new experience. Now, Platinum and Astra Schedule, they fit right into this new experience. Tom mentioned it this morning when he was talking about building new persona-based experiences that sit right alongside the products that you're so used to using every day. And this is the kickoff of that. And trust me, for all of us who've spent time working on it, we couldn't be more excited to share this with you. So let's dive into Platinum and Schedule, and what better place to start than login? Login's fun. So with Astra Schedule and Platinum Analytics, we've enhanced our single sign-on capabilities. We all know managing users across all these different systems on your campus can be a struggle and a pain, and we're hoping with this new release, with 8.9, we've made that a little easier for the products that we care about, right? So when your students or your faculty or your staff, when they log into your single sign-on provider, we're gonna take that information, we're gonna get them logged right into Astra Schedule or Platinum Analytics. Slick as, you'd hope. And your login username is going to show up right up in the top. You're no longer going to be a guest. It's going to be great. If you're not a user yet, we're going to go ahead and automatically provision you one, so we'd reduce that management overhead for your staff, which is pretty cool. Now, when logging in and when doing all these things, that little boost there for you makes the whole job a little bit easier, right? Every little step that we can take out of the process so that your users and your students and whoever is using the system can get in there and do their job right away, that's really important. One thing we've also released recently is our new Help Center. Now this is something I'm personally super excited about because I love knowing that the products that we create are being used the way we intended, and then learning from you guys in the way you're using them in the way we maybe never thought they would be used, right? And in the Help Center, this is our way to collaborate with you in a real easy way. So you can go out to the Help Center, you can search for articles that you need. It's a smart search, so as our customers use this, it's gonna get smarter over time. If somebody's out there searching events, and most often when someone hits events, these are the 3 or 4 articles that show up, well, those are gonna be the ones that rise to the top. Okay, so hopefully as we use this thing together, we're going to curate that content to the stuff that's the most valuable to all of us. You can also collaborate in the new Help Center. We've got new communities out there. Think of them like forums. They're all organized by topic, so you can jump in there and join the conversation to the topics that are most important to you. The cool thing for me is, hopefully what this will allow is for you guys to get resolutions to things quicker, right? You can help each other answer problems. You guys have a ton of knowledge. I mean, in this room, there's way more knowledge than we can possibly count regarding Platinum and Schedule and the other products we offer. And we want to be able to pull all of that together so that we're all getting off on the right foot when we encounter something. Now, when articles or the community forums, or they're just not enough and we need to register a case, we've also added a quick link in there so you can do that straight from the Help Center too. Now, also with the release of 8.9, we've added better app monitoring. Now, this to me is one of the I can't even describe it. It's such a step forward for us, right? So the most important thing for any product designer or developer or anyone is to really understand in a very specific way how your customers are using the products. Most of the time when we have conversations with you, it's highly anecdotal. We get to hear what's going well. We get to hear what maybe is a shortcoming here or there. And then we do our best to scrounge all of that up and get it fixed so that you guys are getting what you need out of the products. But what if we knew what those issues were before you knew what they were? What if we were able to see inside the system and understand, you know what, we've got some users that are hitting some bottlenecks here and there. We expected them to kind of walk through this flow that we've designed, but they're stopping on step 2, and we really need to know why. And not only our users broadly are stopping on step 2, but here are some users that specifically we can reach out to and say, hey, you guys have worked with us before. We've had these conversations before. We can tell exactly where you're running into trouble, and here's how we might be able to help. Now, we can also use this to decide, again, what should we be investing in? We're going to know very clearly and with data that these are the most common through lines in our product. And if we could just add these 1 or 2 more things, we could make these users' lives that much easier. And for us, that's really, really important. So that's better app monitoring. Now this is going to get, like I said before, this is going to get smarter and smarter and smarter as we move along, which means for us and hopefully for you, we're going to be tailoring our investment to the things that you guys care about most, and that's really important for us. So Ad Astra for Outlook. This is coming, and it's real, and it's going to be here soon. I threatened to steal all the thunder from Ryan's session because his name was on this presentation at one point, and somehow I'm up here. Ryan. So Ryan's going to walk through, Ryan and Jenny and others are going to share Ad Astra for Outlook with you. It's not a prototype. It's real. We're getting it in the hands of our customers very, very soon with the whole intent of being able for you guys to log into Outlook, search for rooms that are available in Astra Schedule. You'll be able to see both, available or not available. It'll be right there for you. And book that room. Now what's going to happen is that we've got an API that's going to connect right to Outlook, and it's going to book that room in Astra Schedule so we reduce double booking. Right? That's where we're going to start. We think it's a good start. We're going to deliver this to Windows, to Mac, to Office 365, so no matter where you interact with Outlook on any one of those systems, you're going to be able to take advantage of the new features. And we're going to have it out before the end of this year. So we've got some design partners that we're going to get it to maybe as early as next week, and it's going to get to the market as soon as we can hammer out some of the kinks with them. So I'm going to switch gears here just a little bit. When we were listening to Tom's presentation, he talked about persona-based experiences, targeting apps that are very specific apps that are meant to accomplish a very specific problem for a very specific user. Now, we've seen the proliferation of this with other enterprise systems, right? This is an extreme example, but if you log into Google, no longer are you logging into Gmail. You're logging into an ecosystem of experiences. This should be something we're pretty familiar with, right? Office 365 is very similar. We're going to have a similar paradigm with our products. And I'm excited to share with you a handful of these products that we're going to be rolling off in the next year or so. And Align is where we want to start. So Align sits in the platform right alongside Astra, or Platinum Analytics and Astra Schedule, and you can interact with it in this one common experience. So what is Align all about? Align is about the step in your process where you're planning out changes to an upcoming term. All right, that's where this product really shines. So what we're doing is we're taking all the data that you're going to need and we're going to distill it up into one experience so that you have the tools that you need to make the right decisions at the right time. Align is all about aligning your schedule to meet student demand, and the best way to do that is to find those opportunities to make small changes to your schedule, right? As we mentioned this morning, it's not about re-architecting everything all the time. It's about finding those key opportunities to make small changes that have high impact. And our goal is to present those opportunities to you right there, right? So you see all the courses that fall under your purview. Maybe you're the dean of a particular program. You can filter that list to show exactly what you need to see when you need to see it. It's going to show you what your enrollment is. It's going to show you the sections that you have planned, but it's also going to recommend you might want to add a section or two to this course. Based on our analytics, we think that's a smart idea. And you can do that right in here. So with Align, it's a pretty simple interface. Think of it kind of like a worksheet, right? You've got the ability to say, I think we should add a section or two to this course. Or I think we should take a section away from this course. And remember, we're in the planning phase. We're modeling changes. Now, what's interesting is during this process, we know that there's a ton of different stakeholders that play ball, right? We know that this is largely a process that depends on good collaboration. It depends on us understanding what everyone else is thinking and making sure we've got our ducks in a row before we make these changes. And presenting the information in a view like this is really critical because it allows us all to see the same stuff, right? We can all understand where we are, what situation we're in, what decisions we're making from one view. So let's say we decide to add 2 sections of a course, right? Strategically, we think this is a good idea. Well, we can mark that reviewed. And when we mark that reviewed, what it's doing is it's telling all of us, hey, we think this is a good idea. We think it should take that next step. We've gone through the necessary data mining, we've talked to our peers, and we understand this is something we need to invest in. So you just mark that reviewed, and it's going to let the folks that are farther down the line in workflow know, hey, we need to look at this. This is something we should probably take a look at, right? So those folks, let's say they need to understand, do we have the faculty to teach it? Do we have the space? Do we essentially have the resources we need to offer another section, right? And if they do, they can mark that approved. They can say, I think this is a good idea. We should move forward with this and mark it approved. Now, once that happens, it goes another step in the workflow where it goes to actually scheduling it in the SIS, right? And for us, that's really, really awesome. Once it gets scheduled in the SIS, we're going to know about it. And we're going to mark that thing scheduled. And so when you go back to a view like this, the whole presentation of our process is there, it's present, it's right in front of us, and we know where everything is at every step of the way. So in a roundabout way of saying, we're keeping everyone on the same page, which I think is pretty important. Now, part of keeping everyone on the same page is enabling collaboration in our tools. Tom said something a while ago that has stuck with me. I don't know why, but I think it's funny. On campus, we do a lot of sneaker conversations. What he means is like running across campus to have a quick conversation with somebody. We do that on our phones. We do that over text. We do that over email, right? We naturally communicate. We're human beings. We communicate in all different kinds of ways. The challenge with that is all those communications live in their own individual spot. Right? And what we want to do is we want to bring that communication to one place, right? This is where we talk about this course. And everybody, all the stakeholders who are engaged in that conversation can live in that one place. And we can start to document what we're thinking. We can start to document ideas we have about how we can improve. We can mention our peers, which is really important. We all do this on Facebook and Twitter and everything else, right? We might say, at Tom Shaver, we really should discuss this. And Tom's going to get a notification. It's going to bubble right up to him, and he's going to have that jump right into the system, right into context through our notifications tool. And he'll see exactly what I'm seeing when I'm commenting. So he doesn't have to jump into the app and go search for things and go find things. We're going to drop him right where he needs to be to join in on the conversation. And Tom can message him something back to me and say, at Charlie, I think that's a great idea, but no, And so on and so forth, right? We can have this conversation ongoing. Now, what's really, really critical is that conversation is sticking with the course. We've talked a lot about what does history mean for us, and how do we track decisions we've made over time. And this is a very logical place for that to live, right? We can go back in time in that course and see, why did we make this decision? How did we land here? Who was involved in that decision? Do we need to drum it back up? So real-time alerts are really, really important to these conversations. We don't want anyone who needs to be engaged and involved to miss out on anything that they need to know when making these important course change decisions for their students. So now we've sort of talked about the planning part of the process, right? But what happens, how do we know that the plan that we've just laid out, that we've collaborated around, is successful? Well, that's where the next app comes in. And we call it Monitor. Now, Monitor is all about measuring our registration, right? It's about making sure we don't have any surprises when registration arises. Not problems, but surprises. We want to make sure that you have that data that you need as the bullets are flying to make the right decisions that you need to make, right? So we're going to tell you right in the front screen how many days left till this term closes, till it starts. What is your enrollment ratio across the board? You can quickly see in a visual way about the courses you care about. This is how they're filling. You can see it at a glance. It's not hard to look across that view and say, oh, we've got a couple problems here we probably need to think about or look at. And you can drill right in to see what those problems are, right? It might be perfectly in line with your strategic plan to not add sections to that, but it also might not be. And what we want to do is we want to provide an experience for you to quickly identify those courses that are only trending a fill rate faster than maybe you expected, or trending a fill rate slower than you may have expected. But we want to provide those new data visuals so that you can see it very clearly and concisely. Here's where we should be spending our effort. Here's where we should be validating that the strategy we had in place is working or it isn't. So in the interface, you can see an entire list of courses that you care about. Again, you can filter this down to the things that matter to you. And you can focus in on those courses that need attention. We're also going to let you know if a course has reached high enrollment. So if a course that's under your purview, we're going to send you a notification and say, hey, this is something you care about. It's just reached high enrollment. You may want to take a second look and see if there's anything that needs to be done to meet student demand. So the way that in Monitor, the way that you're going to dive into the data is very similar to the way that you're going to do it in Align. In fact, in our system, the vision is a course is a course is a course. It's the same course that you were dealing with in planning. It's the same course you're validating during registration. All the conversation that you had during planning is going to be there. All the people who were involved in planning are going to be in the know when this stuff is being registered for. You can, again, comment and collaborate and do all the things that you need to do to make sure that we're meeting the demand that the students have for a particular course. Right? So when you view into, or when you open up a course, you're going to get all the details that you need to be sure, right, that a decision needs to be made. We're going to give you its enrollment progress. We're going to give you the seat fill. We're going to give you its state. We're going to tell you its enrollment ratio, et cetera, et cetera. And it's all in a pretty simple and easy to use interface. So the important thing here is we're trying to complete this cycle, right? Where we're trying to make sure that we're giving you the tools you need to effectively plan, and we're giving you the tools you need to effectively ensure that the plan is working. But the next thing we want to do, and this is really important, is give you the tools you need to measure on an ongoing basis, right? And this is where Report comes in. So Report is another app that we want to deliver in the new Ad Astra environment. And Report is just as it sounds, right? It's a reporting tool. Now, it's pretty cool. We've got new BI tools powering this tool, and it's connecting to data from all over the Astraverse, as I call it. But we're pulling it all together into one simple interface so that you can dive in and out of data as you need to tell the stories that you need to tell with your data. It's jumping, Tom. So to get it started, the whole point of report is to expand your reporting potential. We're already using Crystal, and it's working. We're using dashboards, and they're working. We've got tools out in place that you rely on, and those are not going away, right? What we're doing is this is another additive option for you to tell the data stories that you need to tell, to do the research that you need to do, to get people aligned around data, right? Making those data arguments is always better instead of making political arguments, instead of getting people together and having these battles over, we think we should do this or we think we should do that. Having that data at your fingertips makes that process so much easier. And so this is what we're hoping to do. We're going to pull data from all over the system, and we're going to present it in an easy way in these new tools so that you can make the informed scheduling decisions that you need to make, right? When you open up these reports, it's important that to understand we're taking a stab at, we think this is a good way to present this data. But if I've had this conversation with our customers once, I've had it 100 times, you guys present cool data. If I could change it just this much, it would tell the story I need to tell, right? And then we get a call to Patrick or to whomever to help tell that story, right? And that's important. What we're seeing there is we're seeing a need from our customers, and we're hoping to cater to that need with these new tools. So you open up a report. It might be a very simple events by status report, for example. That sounds pretty simple, but I was demoing it to Vicky, not to pick on Vicky a little earlier, and she's like, yeah, but what if we could filter it by this? And I'm like, aha, we can. And it's really easy. So once you open that report, you can filter it by all the parameters that are used to make up that report. And it's right at your fingertips. You can do it right there on the fly. If you get drilled down 10 levels and you want to reset it, it's just a simple button, reset back to basics, and you can go frame another argument. You can frame another report that you can monitor over time, right? So essentially what we're doing is we're trying to create a sandbox for you to take that data, to make it your own, and to use it in the way that you know it needs to be used. But here's the kicker, and this is the exciting part. We want to give you the ability to author your own reports. Right? And we want to do it in these new BI tools because you know your data and you know the problems you're trying to solve better than anybody, right? Our director of engineering, Jeff, he often talks about the best way to solve a problem is aligning, as close as you can, aligning the people who have the problem with the people who can solve the problem. In a best situation, that's the same person, and that's what we're shooting for here, right? You know what problem you're trying to solve. You know what you're trying to design with this data. You know what reports you need to build. You know what data you need to pull in to make sure that you're successful. So we want to give you the tools to do that, right? The interesting thing is as you build these, as you author these, they're going to get published right back to that report app, right? We go back. The list of reports will include your own reports. So it's a very easy launch interface into this reporting environment. And you can keep track of all of that stuff in one place, and it's really handy. So let's switch topics a little bit. We've talked about scheduling and strategy and executing on strategy and measuring. But we also want to take a look at events, and we want to take a look at how we're delivering events and who we're supporting and how we can do that better. It wasn't that long ago we did a Google design sprint. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's sort of Google's way to kind of fully understand an idea before they go and invest in it, right? And we were doing that with some of our events folks, and we got a chance to talk to some students, and the one thing those student event requesters said across the board was, yeah, I'm sort of requesting a lot of these things, and it's hard for me to see them and to keep them all in space, right? It's hard for me to keep up to speed on what's going on, where they're at. If I have a problem, there's someone on campus I'm supposed to remember to call, but I don't remember her name. Maybe there's an email address, I don't know. So we actually had students doing things like creating little apps for themselves, or Word documents that kept track of everything, or Excel documents, and they shared those with us, and it was pretty inspiring, not only that they were quite ingenuitive in how they were solving these problems, but it was effectively the perfect roadmap for us, right? There was a problem that people were trying to solve on their own, and for us, it was very clear to see, yeah, that's a gap. We need to be doing something about that. And that's where Request comes in. So what Request is, it's a tailored experience for your event requesters to manage their requests. Sounds simple, and it is. It gives them visibility into the events they've requested that are upcoming. It gives them visibility into events that have happened before, right? Right there in the interface, we know as they go and they jump out to the event request form, and they're filling out these long forms, they might have to fill out 5 of the same form in one setting. Well, what if they could create one and clone it? And they only have to fill out the 3 fields that are different and submit that for approval. It's a whole lot easier. It's cooler. And what if they could, what if as they're requesting things, if they have questions, or if they're managing things and they have questions, what if they could just communicate right in the app back to those folks who are approving events and managing events on campus? What if we could drive all that conversation similar to what we were talking about with Align and Monitor? What if we could drive it all to that one place so they know, I don't have to remember email addresses or phone numbers or text so-and-so to get my event changed. I just go to this one place. I can see the status of everything. I fully understand how far along I am in my list of events I've got to request. And I can ask the questions I need to ask. I can communicate right there in the experience with those folks who are responsible for managing these things broadly across campus. And that's where we get into the request management piece, right? We want them, in essence, to be able to own their requests. And when I say that, what I mean by that is I want them to be able to have the opportunity to make those small tweaks and changes that they need to make over time. Now, we don't want to take purview away from the management team, right? So what we want to do is we want to give them the ability to make those small changes and send those things back through workflow. We want to give you the ability, or the approval process, essentially. We want to give you the ability to say, yeah, we know that you want to make those changes, but we can't for X, Y, and Z. Or, sure, go ahead, right? But we want to do it in the interface. We want them to be able to just make those small changes and move on. I mentioned cloning before. Well, what about canceling or deleting, right? If I just want to go out there and I want to see my list, I can click on it and I can cancel it and I can say this no longer is going to happen, and I can do that right then and there. Now, this is a bit of a preview to the next app, but we're going to be publishing these events publicly, right? You guys do that. We've had customers who have integrated with our products to take our event list and get it out on your websites. Well, what if I'm authoring an event and I want to see, do I have all the information I need to have that published publicly? Can I see everything that I need to see? So we're going to allow them to preview that as well, right there in the interface. They can preview, here's how my event might look if it's published on our public website. As I said, I was teasing something. So this is Promote. Promote is our answer to a public-facing event calendar. Now, we're going to deliver Promote right alongside everything else. And the intention is to give a connection between those requests that live in your system and the way that they're presented out in the real world, out on the campus website or the university website. It allows users to quickly and easily search. It allows them to view different events from different categories. You can dive right in and type in this event, whatever, and it'll come right up. But it also allows you to do things like highlight feature events, right? It allows you to, like I said, as the event requester, easily publish all those details that I need as a requester to make sure that my event is well understood by those who might visit the event or might join in on the event. What's interesting is with this new product, as I'm a customer of the campus website or the university website, I can see those events right on my phone. And maybe I dive into an event and I'm like, yeah, but I don't know how to get to this space, right? Never been to campus before. Well, with this, you can just click on that map and you can have Google take you right there. Have you guys seen the new walking step things? I imagine we're gonna have people walking into walls unintentionally before long. But it's all sort of baked right in, right? We're part of our vision for developing these new products is standing on the shoulders of things that have been done before, right? And with this product in particular, it's pretty plain to see how, we're going to use Google. We're going to use these other things to get these things out to you guys and get it to you quickly. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention about Promote is that we have a vision of releasing it in maybe 2 different ways. Right? We'd like it to get to market as a standalone product. So let's say you don't, it's harder to get something like this embedded in your campus website. Well, that's okay. You can use this all by itself. You can drive people to this space and they can browse through their events right there. Or we'll release it as a plugin, a tool, that you can deliver to the support staff on campus, and they can actually embed it into the website. We'd give them the ability to, do the things they like to do, make sure it meets brand standards and change colors and that kind of stuff. Make sure there's nothing wrong with the presentation. Make sure it's, KU blue and red, whatever. We'll give them that ability too. So I've sort of really quickly thrown a lot of information at you, and it's important to, I think, take something away with you when you go. And just know, as we move forward with these new products, we're going to be doing things like launching product certifications, right? Things that you can get out there and you can learn and get certified with so that you're not out there on your own trying to figure this out. Another thing that's really, really important for us, and you'll notice I've highlighted something here on the bottom right-hand corner. This is a little tool that's new for us. And we're calling him, I think, Astrabot. I'm excited about Astrabot. Astrabot, think of Astrabot as this little concierge, not nearly as cool as Maisie, but we'll take it. Astrabot is a product concierge. It allows you to get guides for the apps we're releasing. So you can, right from one place, you can say, hey, can you please walk me through this report thing? And it literally will introduce you to that right there and there. You can tap right into the knowledge base from right inside the app. So as you're working, as you're using our tools, if you have a question about it, you just tap Astrabot and say, hey, tell me about events. And Astrabot will respond with all of the knowledge base articles that we have in our system right there in the app, right in context to what you're doing. So you don't have to leave to go do something else, or leave to go to a help center or anything else to find that answer. You can do it right from inside the app. And dirty little secret, those things are connected, right? Everything that exists out there in the help center is going to get taken right into the apps. So we've also Astrabot also allows you to connect with support, right? So you can very quickly do things like log feature requests or log issues or log the things that are the things that you want to share with us. I think there's like a feedback one in there too. So just anything that's on the top of your mind, you can let us know, whether it's related to the product or not, that's okay. And we'll get that stuff addressed, right? And the beautiful thing is it's all tied together. And lastly, we're going to be releasing new training tools for your users. Now, what's interesting about this is training comes in all shapes and forms, right? So we can have more formal trainings, which we'll have, but we can also have in-app training, which for us is a step forward and is pretty cool, right? So as your users are engaging in a process for the first time, we can offer just-in-time training right there in the experience. So it might say, hey, we notice this is your first time requesting an event. You might take a look at these handful of things to get yourself oriented to understand what this is all about. And if they ever need to go back and look into that again, like, man, I forgot how to do that, it's all right there for you to tap into again with Astrabot. So as I mentioned early on, everything that I've demoed or talked about here, there's demo stations running upstairs. And this is the thing I want to leave everybody with. Everything that we've talked about so far, you can get your hands on and you can play with. Now, for me, that's super exciting because I'm really stoked to hear your feedback about these products. Right? I want to interact with you guys upstairs. I want to see, and the folks who are manning those stations are excited too. We want to see how you interact with them. We want to hear what ideas that you have so that we can make them better as we move along. Right? Now, Ad Astra has gone through this transformation from a development perspective. It wasn't that long ago. When I started, we were releasing about once a year or every 6 months or so. We're releasing multiple times a day with these products. So an idea that you have today at Aspire might just get implemented and released tomorrow. And I'm being very serious about that. Like that's the pace that we're moving, and it's really, really, really cool. We're able to get ideas that we've got in your hands quickly without all the fanfare of, we'll get that out in the next release. Well, when's the next release? Well, it's, next quarter. No, the next release might be in 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes after that, right? So getting your feedback is critical. And it's no secret, that's why we've put in so many feedback tools into this system. Understanding how you're using it, giving you direct access to provide feedback to us, right? And what I'm excited about is let's start that this week, right? So all the way up in the Solution Center, we've got 4 kiosks set up. Think of it kind of like the Apple Store, only much cooler, I think. You can go in and you can play. For everybody that's in attendance, we've automatically created a user for you in this new platform. I think this is kind of like the coolest swag maybe I've ever seen, although I'm biased. Like, some people throw t-shirts at people. No offense, Chris. I get to throw product at you. So when you go log in upstairs, you're going to get to log in with your own account. You're going to get to take that back to campus. You're going to get to share that with folks on campus, right? It's all seeded already with demo data, so you can play with it. You can see how these things work. You can get an idea for how you might use it. And provide that feedback, right? Use that Astra bot down there and say, hey, this is pretty cool. You might think about this. And most of the time, what we're going to do is we're going to look at that list of feedback coming in with big old bug eyes, thinking, oh yeah, we should do that. That's pretty cool. All right? So I'm going to leave you with that. I thank you, everybody, for letting me walk through these new products with you and sharing your time. It's great to see friends that have come back, Aspire after Aspire, and I'm excited to meet those folks who I haven't met yet. But again, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the Solution Center.